Hi, I'm Randy Livingston, head basketball coach at Isidore Newman High School. Thanks for tuning in to FanvVew podcast.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back, FanView podcast. I'm that boy Fred.
G-Sportz back at it
You in the building, baby,
again.
and again and again. Coach ain't here, but I got it for him.
Yeah,
I'm gonna take it up for him.
You got it for him. You gotta live up to the bill for him.
Absolutely. Listen, want you everybody listen. Subscribe, FanView podcast. If you on IG, FanView podcast. If you on YouTube, it's FanView NOLA. If you on Twitter, which X. Now,
Right,
X.
right.
We just missing 2 more X's, baby. it be X-rated. But don't forget to subscribe to our family. Don't forget to follow G-Sportz. If you're on YouTube, if you're on Twitter, if you're on Facebook, IG, I can't help you if you're underneath the rock, baby. I just can't help you.
I'm at 22.9 thousand subscribers, man. I'm trying to get to 25 before 2024.
Yeah,
That's my goal. 25.
25. Gotta have a giveaway, baby.
Speaking to existence.
Gotta have a giveaway.
You're right. I'm
Gotta
gonna
have
think
a
about it.
giveaway.
I'm gonna think about it. Man, we got a Louisiana legend in the building, man.
Yes, New Orleans Hall of Famer. Get it right.
Put some respect on
Put
his
some
name.
respect on his name.
Newman, Isidore Newman, head basketball coach, Randy Livingston, man. Appreciate you coming on the podcast, bro.
Absolutely.
Since you've got into the coaching game, man, you have put your mark over there at your alma mater, Newman, and in the state of Louisiana. 2 straight state championships. I know you're going for your 3rd this year.
Back to back.
But we always like to start our podcast off talking about your journey, man. I remember when you was in high school, I was like in 2nd or 3rd grade.
Yeah.
But I'm such a basketball historian. I remember, seeing you on the news and seeing how good of a basketball player you was, and it made me a fan instantly, growing up. But take us back, man. Take us back, man. Growing up in the Callio projects, picking Newman as your high school to attend, and how you flourished, and being McDonald's All-American, being a parade All-American, man. Going to LSU, the trials and your tribulations, man. Just take us back through your whole journey, man.
Man, I don't know if we have enough time. Nah, we'll try to get through it, man.
Right.
I appreciate, Fred, you guys having me and having me being on the podcast today. This I enjoy, getting out, talking, and basically at the end of the day, I started off in the Callio just like all the young kids around here,
Mhm.
right? And to me, playing sports, it was just a way for me to stay out of trouble, basically. Growing up in the Callio, you can go left or right. But at that time when I started playing sports, I decided to go straight. A lot of people that know me growing up, and we just had a lot of conversations about football. Football was my first love. I love playing football. Grew up playing at Taylor Park. A lot of people don't know. I went to John Curtis.
Hold up.
Yeah, I went to John Curtis. I went. I'm about to tell you, I was in John Curtis's 6th and 7th grade. We had the Biddy Basketball National Championship, coached by Bill Robinson. We had the championship game against a Puerto Rican team. I don't really want to get into that.
Right.
2 cats had mustache and hair on their leg, 9 and 10-year-olds. And we lost by 1 point. I'm still mad at that. I know the 2 guys' names.
Listen,
That's how mad I am about that.
you got to be mad to still remember something like 1990.
Yeah.
No
I'm
question.
a competitor he is.
Competitive.
Man had a stash and hair on his leg. Miguel Davila and Alex Cruz. I know their name. I was so mad. But I went over there. The championship was over there. And then the guys at Curtis saw me play basketball. They knew I played football. But I went there. Football was my first love. I was a option quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everybody knows who Chris Howard is, who went to Michigan.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
We ran the same veer. We used to do it at lunchtime. But, if Chris was the off back, they blocked for me. I wasn't pitching. I like running. That was my deal. Dive, and Chris would go take out somebody, be an extra blocker. But, those were the good old days. But, I just quickly got better at basketball. And the love for that grew. I still love football probably till this day, more than basketball, but I just got better at basketball so quickly, put in a lot of work, had great coaching. If you want to talk about utopian type amateur careers, we can start from, I wasn't very good, basketball 9, 10, I started getting better, and then 11, I just took off.
What was the turning point?
I think I had coaches that I was, Nord, he played bitty basketball. So I was
Right.
one of the biggest guys. I played center. But after we lost, that's why it was a turn point. We lost to that Puerto Rican team. They played a box and won. But when you're the big man, you got to depend on somebody to get you the ball,
Yep.
right? And so I would run around like crazy, tire myself out. And then right after that game, I had a coach come up to me and say, "Hey, man, look, you're a good player right now, but if you learn how to handle the ball at a high level, you never have to depend on anybody to get you the ball. You can handle the ball, and the boxing one becomes null and void." And so I worked on my ball handling all summer. You know, Barry Tyler backyard, every playground, L. Davis.
And back then we didn't have no trainers.
No trainer. No, it was just
It's your will to
yeah.
play.
But I had an older brother. You know, he would be there when I do ball handling. If I put my head down, he hit you in the chin,
Yep,
pop it up. So you can always see ahead. So I was always at a younger age one of those guys. Once I learned how to dribble and take care of the basketball, I can see the plays 2 steps ahead because I'm looking ahead, right? Not, down. So that's where kind of that point guard instincts took over. And like I said, from a utopian AAU bitty basketball career and then into high school, I mean, I might have had a pinky injury or ankle injury, but we won everything. We won 12-year-old bitty basketball in Orlando, national championship AAU, MVP, 13.
You played for the
MVP.
Spartans?
Played for the Spartans. Coach Rob, MVP. We won every AAU national championship until we were 16. I think we came in third. I think we lost finally in the semifinals. And so that, bolstered into going into high school. And people don't know. I mean, somebody showed me all my stats. I basically averaged 20 points and 8 rebounds my freshman year, which was kind of unheard of.
Yes.
At the time, yeah.
At the time, and I was sharing it with Coach Fitt's son Edmund, who wound up going to Ole Miss, was a good player too. So I can only imagine if I was playing on a team by myself freshman year, it may have been more, But I get it. I know what team play was all about. So you always need players. And so then we lost my freshman year, and probably was the Newman best team we had at Newman when I was there. We had all athletes. We had another college player on the team, but we didn't win. And, man, that hurt, man. I won't lie. And we lost to another good team. Kim Lewis at Varnado played at Tulane. And we'd always see them in the playoffs, and they got us that first year. I'll never forget the next day was Mardi Gras. I think I cried the whole parade routes because winning was important. And so I vowed after we lost, I saw the seniors cry and I would never have that feeling again. And, man, the next year, sophomore year, that probably was the best season besides my senior year. But from a playoff stretch, I didn't play any better. I mean, I think in the playoffs, the 5 games back then, you had to win 5 games to win it. I averaged like 42, 14 rebounds, 10 assists, 6 blocks. Like, it was just a 5-game. And we played against some dudes, Clarence Caesar. We played Doug Anderson. All those kids was good. Those guys was nice. Going to college and but then that summer after I had that run, the Boston Shootout came. And all the AAU national championships, all that stuff I did. But then to go on the East Coast, I had Kerry Kittles in the backcourt.
Kerry Kittles. That's the name.
John Randino was on there. Dwayne Spencer. We had Scotty Thurman. We had a really, really good team. And I showed out in the Boston Shootout against Jawan Howard, Michael Finley. Who else was on that team?
Pros.
Yeah, it was all pros. It was 3 other pros on that team. Sherelle Ford, who lives down here now, and Donnie Boyce, who played with the Hawks. So we went up there and put New Orleans on the map. That was another funny. I mean, I got a lot of stories for days. We get on the elevator. The tournament was run by Coke, Dunkin' Donuts. Those were the big sponsors. Reebok. I remember us getting pump shoes. The lady was like, "Where y'all from?" We were like, "We're from New Orleans." Most of us was from New Orleans. She was like, "Oh, what y'all came up here just to, be a tournament, give wins to everybody else." I kind of looked at Dwayne and all of them. I was like, man, I ain't say nothing. But like, soon as she got off the elevator, like, we kind of knew what time it was. It was like, okay, we got to put, no question, we're going to put New Orleans on the map. And we did that. To be on the East Coast and
because the East Coast is like really the mecca of basketball. So, that's what everybody think.
100%. We played a DC team that had Lawrence Moten and all those guys. We played a team from Philadelphia that had Dante Calabria and Big Dan Fortson, ran through them. And then to play Chicago that had all those pros, man. We really did put Louisiana on the map. And I carried that boulder from when I was younger playing AAU, that, we could hoop. I played with guys that were all from the projects, and we won. So, like, it didn't matter who we played against. And it's something about that camaraderie of growing up with guys and staying together. We might have added some pieces from Baton Rouge here and there, but we won. So from that, Boston shootout, and then to win 3 state championships, to be named Player of the Year my junior year with Jason Kidd,
Yeah.
then my senior year with Rasheed Wallace. Life was great. That I mean, I don't, because I'm a proud guy, but I'm not really a bragging type guy. I'd rather let other people do it. But as you get older, I think it's important for not only the younger generation for Hannah, there's stuff to follow, but there's only a few of us. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, LeBron, I think there's one other person that won co-player of the year or player of the year 2 straight years in the nation. And so that's something to be proud of when
Yes.
you look back.
Yes.
And from Louisiana, story in the basketball, man, I love and cherish those days. That's it gives me bragging rights when people start talking about this, that, and other. But I'll stack my high school career and amateur career against anybody, and that's including LeBron, Kareem. It doesn't matter who it is, because we won everything, and every time we won, I was the MVP. We won 3 state championships, 2 years National Player of the Year. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that for me.
I tell you what, I know this is gonna bring back some memories. Do you remember when you came played at Nickel State against Andre Brown?
No question.
So Andre Brown, I'm from Homer, so
Yep.
that's my area, and Andre Brown is a legend.
No question.
Right? A legend. A lot of people say he's the best player to ever come from my area. I would remember going to Nichols and watching that game as a kid. It's packed.
It was packed.
It's packed. And I said to myself, I think I was with my uncle, and I asked my uncle, and I pointed to Rand, and I'm like, Uncle Nels, is he going to the NBA? I was like in the 3rd, 4th grade or something
That's
like
crazy.
that, bro. And you don't forget those moments as a kid, because you seen it firsthand. Like, I remember, because I used to pick up the paper, and watch the paper and look at the paper and look at what was going on in high school.
Yeah.
I'm watching the news just for the sports section. My mom would be like, gee, the sports section about to come on. I'm running to the front. To go watch it to see, I was just that kind of guy. Like, when I talk to older cats that played in your area, they be like, man, how you remember? How you know all? I'm like, bro, I'm a historian like that. So take me back to that, man. Like, coming to Nickel State, playing against somebody like Andre Brown. I think Andre Brown went to Seton Hall.
With the Seton Hall.
Yeah. And living up to the bill, because everybody wanted to see what the hype was with you.
Yep. And that was a good matchup. So Andre was one of those guys we picked up later on in AU because he could ball. So he came play with us in a couple tournaments. I'll never forget. And so I knew what he was about. And when we played a game, we played John Ehret in the Superdome with Rashard Allen. He played St. Aug before. So he was a featured guy, and I knew. I think when I look at some of the former NBA guys talk about rivalries and stuff, you just know when you're about to play one of those dudes, you got to show out.
Yep.
And so, like, they're like, because the comparisons start, right? Is Andre just as good as Rand? He scored a lot, blah, blah, blah. For me, growing up, the way we grew up and how competitive it was in the Calio, all the park basketball, all the stuff. I mean, Pat Surtain and Bell, we all talk about this. It was just competitive. So I knew I didn't have my head coach there. Coach Fitz wasn't coaching that game. So I knew I had to carry that group. All the seniors, Cooper, Justin.
In an unfamiliar territory.
Yeah, unfamiliar. We playing on the college campus. And, man, like I said, those was just peak days. It didn't matter what Dre or Vanderbilt Catholic did that day. We were going to win. It was just in the cards for us to win because they played the best team game, and then I had to do a lot. And I'll never forget that game. But about 30 seconds left, they were up by 3 or 4. I just knew if we can continue to, like, a lot of people will panic, shoot threes, and then it'll be over with. You got to foul and be over with. I just was drive. It could take me 5 seconds to get down there, 3 seconds, 2 seconds, whatever. Score 2, right, to prolong the game. I think we almost got a steal, and then they got free throws. So they were up 2. Sorry. The guy, I watched him. I got that game on film. I have that. I transferred it from VHS. I had it on CD, and now I have it digital. I just have it stored away where a good documentary is coming. So I saw the guy walking to the free throw line. I was like, man, he ain't going to make these. He missed the front end of the 1-and-1. I think there was 5 seconds left. I grabbed the rebound, dribbled hard as I can left, and as soon as I let it go, I knew it was good. They was up 2. We win by 1. All I remember is just running around. And when I watched the replay of the video, I see all the kids and all people in the fans go crazy. But then I see my mom run across the baseline like that. I see my family run. I hugged them, and then I shook hands with the guy. But when the announcer at the end of the game, he pretty much said, Randy scored this amount in the first quarter, this amount in the second quarter, this amount in the third quarter. But my first quarter was like 16. My fourth quarter was like 20. Like I think out of all of the 50-something points we had, I had 51 of the 57.
Right.
And so like it was like one of those games. And Drake played well because he had like 28, 20. But
Mhm.
I know I had to separate myself from a competitor. And
Definitely.
Drake was a great basketball player. But that was a great atmosphere that night for basketball. And I remember that game, and it's probably on my Facebook. I got a little highlight thing I did of that game. But that was one to remember. So you got a hell of a remembrance.
Yeah, man. I'm telling you, I just remember that. But my next question is, back then, you was eligible to leave straight from high school and go to the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
Shows that
Why?
shoot.
Why not go to the NBA?
Well, that was a tough thing. Like I think there was a big gap of people that declared for the NBA.
Because I think Moses Malone was the last one.
There was somebody
Never
else.
going there, huh?
There was somebody else right after that, but it was a 15-year gap.
Okay.
I believe. And so what happened was, I found out later, and this, my head coach at the time said, a couple NBA scouts that came to some of the games, and he pretty much told them I was going to go college, right? But had I known, or it would have been brought up as an option back then, it was just such a gap.
So you wasn't even thinking about the NBA?
No, I wasn't thinking about it because it was such a gap.
It was such a gap.
I go 1 year, do what I do, and I'm out, right?
Right.
It just wasn't a thought. And most of the guys that went pro were bigs, right? So guards
That's a
go
good
pro.
point. That's a good
But
point.
then to find out Jerry Colangelo was one of those guys who came down and scouted, and they had like the 6th or 7th pick, and he said they would have drafted me later on as I, seen them over the years.
How did it make you feel, bro?
It was tough because you got to remember the very next year the explosion came. Kevin Garnett, Kobe Bryant.
Bryant.
It just started. It just the wave of it started. So
Garnett went.
Yes.
Kobe came the next year.
Yes.
And then it
Then
was
McGrady,
McGrady,
Jermaine O'Neal, everybody. So
like wildfire.
it was just one of those things. And timing's everything in life, man. And I think for me, that just was an opportunity that wasn't presented, but it wasn't supposed to happen. That's I look at everything like that. But if you fantasize and think about it, yeah, it would have been great.
It'd have been great.
Well, you could have got drafted because I didn't get hurt.
Because Jason Kidd was number 2.
Yeah, in that draft, no question.
And people were saying they thought you was better than Jason Kidd.
At that time, y'all was very comparable in terms of prospects. In terms of who was going to be the better point guard.
That's a funny story because then we've become very, very good friends. We played together in Phoenix. But yeah, when I was in high school, you can ask Rock because he was coaching the BCI team. We went looking for Jason. I wanted that matchup. That was just how I felt. I worked hard.
Jason went to a 1 year. What? Cal,
yeah.
The 1 year Cal.
And we were supposed to meet in the BCI. He was playing for LA Slam and Jam. And what happened was they said he had the SAT.
Oh,
as I'm telling you, that was the story. So I was like, man, hell with the SAT. We gonna ball. Like, you ain't going to school for academics. You gonna get out too. But that's what was said. And so that was a tough time.
He knew that was a bad matchup for him.
But the craziest thing though is we wound up playing against each other every day in Phoenix, even though I was hurt. And then, like I said, we've become like very close. When I was over, he was over in Slovenia watching Luka for these friendly games, and we talked on the phone and we talked in the arena. So, like, we've become good friends. It's just amazing how those things work out. But his career was great. I feel like I was the same cerebral person as him, but more athletic.
Right.
And so that's how I felt like that matchup would have been. But I would have loved to see it because he was one of the best, NBA point guards.
Because you 6'4", with Jason Kidd 6'4" too?
About 6'3",
Yeah, y'all kind of around the same
thing. We were similar.
And athleticism
and strong. We both were strong, but I was way more athletic.
Yep, way more.
So
way more.
It's life works out like that.
Yeah, and then you tore your ACL the summer going into LSU, right?
Yeah. So graduate. Making that decision to LSU was weird. I always like to get into a little bit of the recruiting stuff. Man, I'll never forget. It was the fall before my senior year, right before going there. Man, I go to mom. First of all, Duke sent Grant Hill down. He had family here. We hung out for 2-3 weeks. That's some of the recruiting stories. He still talks about Camille Grill to this day.
Coach T.
I'll tell you, they were at the 90. That was the first dream team. He was over there with that group. He used to call every day from there. But my dream school was always North Carolina. In my house, my mom's house, my room is still painted Carolina blue. That was always what I wanted to do. So
could have been there with Rasheed Wallace.
Yeah, you remember Rasheed?
Rasheed and Stick. So we talked about it. But what happened was I called the late Dean Smith, and I was like, look, if I come to North Carolina, I'm coming all these miles from home, and I compete with Phelps. I think that was the point guard at the time. And I beat him out. You still mean to tell me I can't start if I beat him out every day? Because I was just competitive like that. If I feel like I beat a guy out, I deserve to start. And he was like, nah, we ain't start Mike. You know what I'm saying? So, you couldn't. Mike was Mike at that point.
Right.
So, I couldn't say anything to me, but in my heart of heart, if I'm going to beat a dude every day, I need to go in there, right?
So basically, they were saying they wouldn't start in the freshman.
Yeah, they weren't starting freshman. Because Stack and Rasheed didn't start either. They were behind Montrose and somebody else.
Yeah.
Right? So they didn't start. And
so who the point guard was? Ed Coder back then?
No.
Who was it?
Jeff McGinnis.
Jeff McGinnis.
We all battled. So
Jeff
they were all
McGinnis.
boys. So me, Stack, and she talked about us three going there. And then when I didn't go, McGinnis went, which was fine. And then the LSU deal, so it's basically Kentucky and LSU. Because Rick Pitino was at Kentucky. And I went in my mom. But I'm gonna tell you how crazy the recruiting world is. I go to my mom. She's the only person I know. It's the day before school started. Mom, I know where I want to go. She was surprised. Said, I'm gonna go to LSU. My brother was there, but he wasn't playing sports. He was just there. But I said, I'm gonna go to LSU. I tell y'all, 10 minutes later, I get a call from Billy Donovan and Rick Pitino. Before you go to LSU, come to Wildcat Night and come see Wildcat Lair, and you'll change your mind. Now, I'm like, the house bugged, phone bugged. Mom ain't call them.
Right.
How did they know?
This is way, understand,
This way back, yeah.
This is not a cell phone
93,
era.
yeah.
This is not a social media era.
None of that.
You get this information.
It was the craziest stuff. I'm talking about less than 10 minutes later, they called and said, Randy, before you commit to LSU. Now, they didn't even know, right? And so I tell Coach Fitz the next day, and he was like, sleep on it for a week, and if you still feel like that, go. Week came, I had my press conference, and I was off to LSU. And one of the things—
So you didn't even take the visit?
No, so I had already took unofficial visits to North Carolina and Duke twice. I had been up there. Michigan was in the top 5, and they had the Fab 5, and one of them was going. So, cold. There's no way I was going in the cold. So it became, SEC. So I'm like, if I'm gonna go to the SEC, there's no way I'm gonna leave home to go to Kentucky. And so, and at that time,
that's when Tony Delk.
Yeah, all of them was there, and Antoine Walker, all of them was there. So, but what happened was, I liked Johnny Jones. I had a great relationship with him. He had been knowing me since. I met Johnny on a recruiting visit when he was recruiting Dave Johnson, who wound up going to Syracuse. He played for the Spartans. And so I knew him since I was 12 years old. Had a great relationship with him. Never talked to Coach Brown throughout the whole recruiting to the end.
What?
Johnny was my dude. I talked to Johnny.
Well, you're a parade All-American. How the head coach never talked to you?
Johnny was my dude. It'd be like Frank and how they recruit. That's how great a recruiting they was. Johnny was one of the best. We talked all day, every day. And at the end, I told Coach Brown. He was the one I called. I told Johnny first, and then I hear him and Coach Brown them screaming in the background, and then I talked to Coach Brown. That's how my recruiting went. And one of the things that drew me to him is like he got a bad rap about, he wasn't a great X and O guy, but he always took care of the players. When they lost, he took the blame, and then he let Chris and Shaq and everybody do their thing. And that, to me, that was my mindset. I want to go somewhere for a year, do my thing, hopefully try to win a national championship and be done. And he did that. And so that's why I choose LSU, and it was close to home. Mom could see me play all the time. And it was that simple. Everybody, the bag and all that stuff. I was trying to go get my own bag. I could care less about that.
Right.
I had a utopia amateur career, so I can only think that he's gonna
keep going down the same direction.
And then I'm putting Allen Iverson and Stephon Marbury to sleep at the ABC camp run by Sonny Vaccaro in Ypsilanti, Michigan. Those are one of those places like where you were when JFK got shot, and Martin Luther King got shot, and Malcolm X assassinated. I remember it like it was yesterday. And at night, we put them to sleep, and we go play in front of the NBA scouts. And it was Scotty Thurman there, a bunch of the UCLA guys, Ed O'Bannon, everybody. And I mean, I did something that I probably did 100 times. I was guarding his game point. I knew the cat was left. I said, I know he's going to go left. So when he go left, I'm going to cut him off, try to strip the ball and contest it. Well, he jerked hard, middle, went left. I was probably a half a second late, but I still got there and cut him off. But when I cut him off, I planted this knee and it buckled. Right?
Ooh.
Now, the crazy thing about that, I finished the game. That's just how we grew up in the Calio. But I had tore my ACL at that point.
You knew something was wrong?
Nope. I finished the game.
Hmm.
I knew something was wrong when I went back to the dorm room in Ypsilanti, slept with a bag of ice on it, and that jank was still warm when I woke up. So if you sleep with ice on it and he's still warm, you know something wrong. Right?
Something wrong.
But you would never think ACL. I didn't know what an ACL was because like
At the time, it wasn't
That was
publicized
the early 90s.
Yeah.
like that. They mentioned it, but it wasn't like it is today.
Until it's like getting that new car and then everybody has it on the road. Once I had the surgery, then I seen so many people have ACL.
Yeah.
It was crazy. And so, yeah, I flew back. Sonny Vaccaro came in the doctor's office with me. They said, you got a sprained knee. So they said, the doctors up there said, you got a sprained knee. Sonny was so shook and scared, and we still friends to this day. He said, man, I'm calling Coach Brown now. We getting you out of here today. I left. I flew back to Kenner. I'll never forget. It's a Newman kid that I played with, Dr. Mimless, bless his heart. He took me in the room, and I was at his house every day in high school.
Getting a second opinion.
Yep, he did the knee test. He walked out of the room, started crying. He didn't even tell me. Start crying. So then I was like, shit, what's happening? And then he came back in and he said, man, I think you tore your ACL. And then next thing you know, call Coach Brown. He tell him. 2 days later, I'm off to Birmingham to see Dr. Andrews. And, the crazy thing about that, if you think Adrian Peterson came back fast and good, man, in 4 months, I was practicing with the team again.
Back then?
Back then. I was practicing with the team again, but it wasn't quite right? So my leg, after surgery, quads were strong, everything was good, hamstrings, calves, everything was strong, but I couldn't straighten my leg all the way out. It wouldn't get back to 0%, whatever.
Right.
Flexion was good, but I couldn't get back to 0. So it caused like a little slight limp, right? And so at that point, I'm practicing with the team, killing too. And I was just 4 months past, and they were like, got a little limp, man, let's just red shirt. So we made a good decision, red shirt. I would say by December that year, so that happened 4th of July. I'll never forget it happened 4th of July.
Mm-hmm.
By December, we went to Hawaii. I was jumping as high as I was jumping in high school, everything. And then it was crazy, man. I went to run on the beach. And, man, I was running some sprints. And, man, I thought somebody shot me. That's how loud the sound was. I don't know if it was my quad or hamstring. I can't remember. It probably tore, pop, whatever. I just felt it, right? And so then it slowed me down a little bit, but I got back to 100%. But I was moving fast. Like, so it kind of, good Lord, slow you down. Slow down, young man, right? And so slowed down. And then the next year I came back, get to play with my homeboy, Bronny Henderson. Only thing I'll give you that I remember this was my freshman year at LSU. Crazy. You know how we are from New Orleans. We played Kentucky on national TV.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here for Mardi Gras, the game on Mardi Gras. I'm at all the Mardi Gras parades. I don't know how I get back for the game because the traffic was crazy thick. I wasn't playing though, so I was hurt. So it was all right. I just show up and be on the bench, right? But I get on the bench. Man, that was the highest of highs. That was the game they were up 36 and lost in the second half. Like, could you imagine being at Mardi Gras? You hype, you get to that game, we up 36 against Kentucky on ESPN, and then lose? Oh, man.
And who was all on that LSU team?
Ronnie Henderson, Clarence, Jamie Brandon. I mean, Lanier Burns, it was up 36 in the second half.
Damn.
That's a lot.
That's when they were shooting all them threes.
That's a lot to lose in a college basketball game.
In a half.
Woo!
That hurt. So I went from and low. But then the next year, I think I got back to pretty good. Man, I was good. I was cruising. And everything that I'd always dreamed of was right in front of me. I think at the one point in 12 games that next redshirt year, I was averaging 16 and 14 assists in college. And assists in college are hard. So game changed a little bit from scoring. I still scored, but I was happy to get everybody involved because I knew that was the only way we could win, right, is to get the other guys to score. Ronnie was a scorer. He was an NBA caliber player. We didn't have the bigs. So when Shaq was there, they didn't have no guards. Now, I get there, we didn't really have bigs, but they were serviceable. Clarence Caesar was on the team. We had a good team. We 5-0 in the SEC. I'm player of the week 2 straight weeks. I'm cruising. Like, it's going great. Childhood friend, former teammate in the Boston Shootout. We going to Arkansas. They had just won the national championship the year
Nola
before.
Richardson.
So we're going to 40 minutes of hell. We're going into that, pig suit. Loud in Barnhill. That's when they were playing at Barnhill. And big game. But I'll take you back. In the 5 games leading up to that, I was player of the week twice. We 5-0 in the SEC. We played UCLA, who was a national championship too, on ESPN. I came down here to speak at a school. I go back. I was great friends with Dr. Andrew's son, Archie. He let me use his 300Z. I go do my appearance. I'm telling you everything. I go do my appearance. I read. I come back across the Bonnet Spillway. It's raining. Man, that was the first time God just flashed me, man. I skidded. The back end of them things was light. I hit this side and that side. Got in an accident. Right before the UCLA game, the day before the game.
Damn.
All I remember is my head just went up the top of it against that thing and it didn't move. I remember I had a scratch. And we played UCLA the next day. It was normal. I was good. And it probably was the adrenaline, the scared of it, whatever. We play them the next day. And the warm-up line, trying to show out. It's on ESPN. I go up, jump as high as I can, try to drop that thing in. And when I came back, I felt something, right? And I played the game. We lost, but I limped like bad. Like never, other limps before, it was not like that. It was a bad limp. We lost. Right after the game, I'll never forget, we go in, I take an x-ray of my knee, and I had like a little, they call it a micro fracture in my kneecap. Small, it was real small. You could barely see it, but it was there. So I'll never forget, Dr. A came in, he was like, look, there's nothing we can do. It's bone on bone. It's going to heal or it's going to go all the way across. So at that point, I'm thinking, okay. I had a high pain tolerance. So I was like, And he was like, well, you just play. You can play as pain, how you can tolerate it, or we can shut it down. Now, I'm averaging 16 and 14. So my dream, I got to go. And
I got to go, yeah.
Yeah, you got to go. And we 5-0 in the SEC. We beat Mississippi State at Mississippi State. We beat Auburn. We beat Alabama at Alabama with McDyess. They had the best front line.
Antonio McDyess.
McDyess, Caffey. They had everybody. They had a Roy Rogers. They had we beat them.
Hey, I ain't hear about Roy Roberts in a long time.
Killed, right? And so, I didn't practice. This was like now they do in the NFL, NBA. You playing the game, but you ain't practicing. You saving. So I would not practice, but then I playing the game. And I got by, and then we go to Arkansas, national TV, and fractured the patella. It went all the way. I'll never forget, somebody threw somebody a pass, they turned it over, and they threw the ball over, and I'm chasing. I know Corey Beck tried to jump back and get the foul, and I tried to catch myself and swipe. After that, I don't know. And I never saw the film again, ever. And then I went down, they pulled the knee sleeve down, and I had a hole in the middle of my kneecap. Half kneecap up here, half was down there. So at that point, I didn't know what was happening because it tore so bad. It was just all the feeling. I didn't even feel nothing. And
what was your mental?
I'm about to say, what your mind is at with all this?
Nah, it's the craziest thing.
Your mind is at with all this.
No, it's the craziest
I'm
thing.
thinking like, man, like, hold on. It's a lot.
No, God, but this how God works, right? So Dr. Andrews watching the game on national TV. It's my mom home game. She damn near our first road game. She damn near bench. The bench here, she damn near right there. She was at the game, right? And so she came over with the trainer. She sat there. They pulled it. They saw it. I think at that point, like I said, up until that, everything in front, my dream, everything, I'm like, whatever. Right. And then at that point, I questioned it. I was like, shit, is this going to happen? Like, because I ain't know, right? And so, like, the way we grew up in New Orleans, we tough. We just going to take it and move.
Yeah, we got resilient.
6 o'clock in the morning, 11 o'clock at night, shit, 10, 12 years, I know. So, I can get over this. So, Dr. A sent the plane. I go to Birmingham, have surgery the next day. I ain't even had that much swelling. I had surgery the next day because usually on that stuff, they wait till the swelling go down.
Right.
I had surgery the next day. And yeah, I questioned it. And man, the good Lord has a way to like put things in perspective. You know, you're down, you're not knowing what's gonna happen. Have surgery, you go down have rehab the next day. Man, I go down, I'm laying on the bed. You know, you feeling sorry for yourself. Bob Pettit had just had knee replacement. He was over on this side. I'll never forget. Talk, and then they bought someone that had one limb next to me.
Mm.
So that put things in perspective very quickly, right?
Worse.
Could be worse. And that's why I'm saying God works in a mysterious way. My mom was with me. She sat by me. She said, "Look, son, if God didn't want you to play again, this would be permanent. It would be truly over. Got a great doctor. He put you back together. Let's just take our time and see what happens after that." And that moms have a way of, they have a way of saying their word. So that was that. But then when I looked to my right and I saw the kid, it was a kid, probably about 20, with one limb left. You kind of put stuff in perspective. This ain't that bad. I can get through this. Whatever it is, whatever's gonna happen, I can deal with this. But he ain't never getting no limbs back.
Real.
He ain't never gonna be able to do some things. And so that was my mindset after that. It was tough after that.
Yeah, because at the LSU, you go second round?
Yeah, well, it was tough because you go back to campus.
Yeah.
And back then, we talk about mental health now.
Right.
Shit, everybody on campus, when you gonna be back? You gonna be all right? You ever gonna play again? All that stuff. So you hear all that stuff. I'm sure depression set in at that point. But a year passed. I had pins and wires in my knee. Got that out. That was real old school surgery. But you're kind of mobilized for 2-3 months, so you atrophy. And so a year passed. I got better. I started playing, but I wasn't the same. I wasn't right. That's when like you lose some explosion, you lose some second when you lose some stuff, and so I just shut it down. I think mix of pressure. Now we were doing good. We were winning. I'm still out there. Man, they didn't win another game in conference. That was hard to watch after I shut it down that year, and so that was the first time they had the rule. You can go in the draft and not hire an agent.
Yeah.
So what I did was I just said, hell, I'm gonna just work on getting stronger. And I knew once I decided that this what I was gonna go for, that I wasn't going back. Because Brown wasn't too happy about that. But at this point, I figure if I got 10 years left for playing basketball or any years left, I might as well get it to pro, right?
If I get to the NBA.
You had to be a little selfish right there.
No question.
Yeah.
And that was a tough decision, but it was the right decision. To this day, and because I was able to just concentrate on rehab, and I went back to Birmingham with Dr. Andrews and great rehab guy and Kevin Wilk. He's the best, still the best. He's done everybody. Drew Brees showed it. They did everybody, and so I got better. Put my name in the draft, and like I said, man, I had a great support from my mom. I watched her work bone to the gristle. And so they were like, you ain't got to go to the combine. You can sit and, you might get drafted. Sit, man. I said, I'm going to go work for it. I went to the combine, man. I was probably 75%. Was killing on one leg.
Come on.
I swear. Hubie Brown them say that do my drafting. I got all the video film for, my upcoming doc. And so I go there not knowing what's happening. And this is how I know. The draft come. I put my name in the draft. There was no coming back. And the night of the draft, it goes from fun to business very quickly.
Ooh.
I went worked out in Denver. They had 3 draft picks in the later round, 20, 23, 29. They say, we're going to take you with one of them and let you rehab and get better. So I'm like, okay, I'm good, right? So still dream in front.
Right.
Like I said, fun to business. 22 came. They picked some dude from Europe. The next pick came. They traded it. The next pick came. They drafted somebody else. I was like, you don't know where you going to go.
You don't know where you're going to go.
Man, you don't know nothing. And bless his heart, man. I was talking to Steve Franchise today. We were talking about the great scout for the Rockets, BJ. He told them to draft me with the 42nd pick. They drafted Othello first at like 32.
Othello Harrington from
First
Georgetown.
pick in the second round. And then I was the 42nd pick. And then they had one more pick. It was Terrell Bell, like 52. And so I'll never forget that day, man. I'm sitting in a hotel with my family. I get that call from Rudy T and Carol Dawson, and they were like,
and this was in the years when the Rockets was coming off the back-to-back.
Yeah.
Yeah, back to championships.
Yeah.
Finals appearances and winning.
Yeah. And here's the thing. This is how God works in mysterious ways. Now, I know I'm getting better. I get drafted. I got the craziest stories. No, I wish we had hours. I get drafted. Best day of my life. All of the
Right.
hard work pay off. All the doubt people had, you get away from it. You live out your dream. Get drafted. Go to the press conference the next day. Nice. Rudy and them was like, you out diamond in the rough. Cool. Well, the GM wasn't Carol Dawson. It was Bob Weinauer. I'll never forget. So the day after draft press conference over with, go back to the hotel. He said, come down, we're going to have dinner. So I went have dinner with, it was just me and the GM. He was like, look, we drafted you, but we're going to stash you in Europe for a year. All right, so you got your dream, you high, and then when he said that, it was just like, it killed my high, right?
Back in the day, you used to have NBA Europe.
Yep.
You stayed to send players over there.
Yep.
He said about this.
He said, we're going to stash you for a year, and then
It's before the G League and all that other stuff. You used to have NBA Europe.
We'll bring you back. So I go from high to low. I'm like, man, what the hell is Europe? I don't know nothing about that. Whatever. So, okay, leave, night go, morning, Bob Weinhauer gets fired. Rudy them bring me into the office. That's how professional sports is. That's from fun to business. They bring me off. They say, Rand, look, you are a diamond in the rough. We don't care if you sit out the whole year. We're going to make sure you're good, and then we'll bring you back, but you're going to be here for a year no matter what. You ain't got to worry about going to summer league. You can stay here and rehab more. We don't care about none of that stuff. Now, in my head, I'm about 90 at this point.
90%?
90%. So I'm like, shit, by the time training camp start, be a dog out there. It's the first year, first time I'm like all the way good, everything good. Man, when I tell you, like, that was the most incredible thing. I go to training camp. After that, they talk to me. They traded for Charles Barkley, Sam Cassell, Robert Horry, all those guys. They have no point guard. Kenny Smith, they gone. So I had shit. This opportunity. I'm about to shine, right?
Mm-hmm.
They signed Brent Price to $18 million, and then they signed two other G League guys or D League guys at the time, or CBA guys, Emmanuel Davis and Matt Maloney.
Mm-hmm. I remember Matt Maloney.
Right? So I'm like, shit, they don't know. Hell with the whole year. I'm ready at training camp. Right, man, I go in training camp, kill. They were like, Dream them was like, man, we finally got a point guard that'll make it easier for us. I was fast, I was athletic, I was good.
So your explosion came back.
Yeah, it was good because I had time to realize, like a year and a half. I was still young. I was 20 at that point. So I go into training camp, I win the starting point guard job.
Mm-hmm.
Guess where the first game is in my pro career?
Denver.
Superdome. Against Avery Johnson, childhood hero. So we come down and do press conference. Charles Hakeem didn't come. I came down, dude. Avery came down to do the press conference for the game to try to sell tickets, blah, blah, blah.
The Spurs.
So do that, go back, practice. That's how crazy the world is. I go back, practice. We're in Houston, we're at the University of Houston practice in front of the fan day. Man, we going up and down. Man, hamstring tweak. I feel it. Like, and it was like, Rand, you didn't play so well. I'm just telling you, this is how the world works. You didn't play so well. We're going to let your tail play in New Orleans because you're going home and there. But after that, you're done for the preseason. We saving you for the regular season.
Right.
Now, lo and behold, we have Charles Barkley, Keem Olajuwon, Clyde Drexler, Mario Elliott, Kevin Willis, and we had a crew. Matt Maloney gets that chance during the preseason and never relinquished it. He played that whole year. Even Brent Price got hurt. In training camp, Brent Price broke his elbow or something.
Right.
So I'm starting, and then that happened, and then Matt, he did a good job. So you got to give Matt credit.
He was solid.
Yeah, but when I came back, I just backed him up, but I never got that chance to do it because what I brought to the table was different than him. He shot threes, and Keem and Charles were going to get double. Clyde was going to get double. That wasn't my strength at the time, but I made their job easier. Fast break, pushing it, and I could guard. I was big. I could post, and so I backed him up. So I go from playing 32 college games in 3 years, and that year I played in 72 games. And we made it to the conference finals.
Mm-hmm.
Lost to the Jazz, and that shot still hurt. Boy, it was so loud. See, people, that was the Compact Center now. It's the church now.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But we played the Jazz, and Stockton hit that shot.
Yeah, he hit
pin
that
drop.
He hit that three to send it to the finals.
And they were supposed
That's
to
when
win.
He started jumping up and down.
Yep. And I just posted something online. We played the Bulls that year. And Dream on Ramadan, we beat them. And Dream had nothing to eat, no water. Man, had 36 15, 7 blocks, and 10 assists.
That'd have been a match. I know.
We would have beat. We had.
No,
we would
and
have
there's
got
no
them.
disrespect to
I
Utah
love-
Jazz.
yeah.
But when Josh started that shot, that's the shot when he jumped.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he hit
And
it.
he never show
He hit
emotion
it.
like that.
No, he was just
He
like,
hit it.
whoa, you know.
Yeah, he hit
But
it.
that Rockets team,
That was a better
with
matchup. Charles.
I know Charles wanted to get back in because he was, they lost him with the Suns.
Yep.
Then you had Dream. They had a stacked team.
And Clyde.
And Clyde.
Yep.
So that group, because Clyde lost him in Portland.
Yeah.
So imagine that team makes the finals. Find a three-peat. No one's three-peating. They two-time. And that matchup finally has that collision where the Bulls, with Jordan now being back, and the Rockets are now.
They wouldn't have had no answer for Dream.
There you
None.
go. But
None.
the craziest thing, though,
Luke Longley don't stand a shot.
So if you say, okay, let's put Rodman on him,
Good
then
luck.
Luke was guarding Charles. It was not good. It was bad all the way around.
That when Charles had expanded his game too.
Man,
he started shooting
He
threes
jumped
when he got the
He had
Rockets.
shooting threes and everything.
He
Yeah.
started shooting
Listen,
three with the Rockets.
And Clyde and Mike didn't guard each other. We put Mario on him, junkyard dog. Now Mike was gonna get his 30.
Yeah.
But then Clyde had him. He locked him up.
Right.
I mean, that would have been like the most tailored.
Yes.
And I would have got like after all that happened, I had a chance to get to the finals and play against Black Mike and beat and all of that stuff. But I enjoyed it. My rookie year was the best. So when you say take me back, oh man, that was a hell of a story. Right?
Yeah.
That'll be in the doc is crazy. And then like the next year I had a 2-year deal with the Rockets. The next year wasn't guaranteed. So go back to training camp, my same mentality, right? But now Emmanuel Davis was guaranteed. Matt got a big deal because he had a hell of a year. Brent Price was coming back. So I kind of knew the numbers were stacked against me. But man, I went at them boys unmercifully every day in training camp. I'll never forget Eddie Johnson and Kevin Willis was like, young fella, you made it hard on them. But, they guarantee you, but that's what you're supposed to do. And then the Journeyman career started. That was
You played for like what, 8 teams?
Shit, maybe more. I probably played 8, but I mean twice with Utah and then twice in Seattle. So I think I played in the 10 years after that. Man, I probably played on 12 different teams and went from
The Supersonic days.
Oh, Supersonics was good. Seattle, they definitely need a team back in Key Arena. That was a great arena.
Right.
That's funny. My mom came up there and she bought all her seafood, and I was like, man, Mom, at Pike right here, they got all the seafood fresh you can want. She
Straight
said,
out the water.
but they ain't got no blue crabs. I said, no, they got them Dungeness out here. You're going to have to figure it out. But she bought her own crabs. But man, those were the days. Utah was great. But my best year, to be honest with you, after that Houston year, I had another situation story. Phoenix years was the best year, and it almost didn't happen. What I used to do is go to the CBA, put up my numbers, get called up, make some money, be good.
Mm-hmm.
I was in the CBA. We played in the finals against Adrian Griffin, who's now the new coach in Milwaukee now.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
We played them in the finals, and we lost like 4 games to 2. It was the best of 7. I was in Sioux Falls. He was in somewhere on the East Coast. It'll come to me. Now, I was MVP, and we lost in the finals. And think about that. I think I was averaging something like 28 and like 18 rebounds from point guard, just killing, right? And
wow.
But it wasn't happening. But I was my own agent at that time.
Why is that?
Because I had been through enough, and I was like, man, I can do this myself. Right. And so what happened was, every game I would study the box scores. Who needed point guards? Who backup point guard wasn't doing good? I would look, somebody get hurt, maybe it's opportunity. And so my CBA coach, he would call around, whatever. But it didn't happen. I just had the great series. It didn't happen. I came home. I'm like, okay, I got to go make some money. I got a call from a team in Venezuela. They were like, look, we'll pay you $30,000 2 months. $30,000 a month, $30,000. You get $60,000 in 2 months. Come play in this little league in the summer. So I thought, that's my choice.
Right.
And I call over there. My boy was like, man, they give you the cash when you get here, and somebody ransacked the house. I grew up in the Cali, so I called the dude back. I said, look, man, I'm gonna bring my dude with me. I'm gonna meet you in Miami. Bring me my paper at the airport. He'll go back that way. I'll come over and play. I said, that's the only way I'm coming. So next day, I'm headed through there with Stan. I'll never forget. And like I said, I've been watching the scores, but like at this point, I'm gone. So, now I've let the world know about my my gambling addiction, I went to Harris.
Oh.
Hold on, let's hear me out. That's the craziest thing. I go to Harris, right? My wife at the time, I'm in Harris, put the phone, gambling, you ain't nothing. Man, she must have called me 20 times. And it's like 11:30, 12. I'm like, man. I finally pick it up. She's like, man, you crazy, you crazy. No, it was like 9:10. She's like, you crazy, crazy. Danny Ainge's been calling you all day. They email, whatever, they want to bring you in for a 10-day. They got one game left. So I jumped on the plane that night. I was going to go into Venezuela, but I wound up detouring. I went to Phoenix. And that's how people don't understand our pro career. But this, all New Orleanians have this in it. Man, I knew from the time I left the CBA, if I got another chance, man, I told myself, I'll bite somebody's arm off. I'm going to make it. I'm going to stick.
Right.
I get to there. I learned everything in that morning and shoot around, all their plays, all that stuff. Man, I swear to God, they throw me in the game. And, when you hungry,
You're hungry.
and it's just like some things when it's meant to be, it's meant
Like,
to
who was
be.
the point guard in Phoenix at the time? Was it Kidd?
Jason Kidd was there.
Kidd?
Yeah, Jason Kidd was there, but they needed a backup. They was playing Toby Baylor and Alvin Sims, who went to Louisville, as the backup point guard. And Alvin wasn't a point guard. I knew that.
Right.
So Gerald Brown was a point guard too, but they weren't happy. You could just see the way the box scores was going.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
They were searching,
right.
right? And so I get there. I learn offense that morning. We playing the Minnesota Twins, young Kevin Garnett. Late great Cliff Robinson guarded him the best I ever seen. Terrell Brandon was the point guard. So it didn't matter.
Remember Terrell
was a
Brandon?
dog.
Yeah,
It's dog.
He was a
But it-
dog.
Yeah.
Man, I don't. It could have been magic that night. Man, it didn't matter who was playing across from me that night. I was gonna do my thing. In 12 minutes, I had 12 points in that game, and made the playoff roster off that one game. I go. We play Portland in the playoff. We lose that series, but in 3 games, I averaged 12 points in the playoffs against Portland. And so,
Bro, you showed a lot of resiliency
oh, it's no question.
with all the
Yeah.
stuff that you went
Oh,
through.
it's no question.
God damn.
Those are some funny stories, though. But they still didn't give him my respect. That's how, like, New Orleans guys and just bad. To me, that respect, you got to take it. Man, I still had to earn it. Danny Ainge said, man, we love you. Stick around here, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to take care of you. But they weren't going to guarantee me, right? So I stuck around. Austin Ainge, who I became friends with, he now GM up in Boston now, up there. He said, Rand, just wherever we go, you go. Austin have a high school game and they playing summer league, come. When they bring in the rookies for the workouts, you come work out. But Brian Quanzo, they're going to see you. I did all of that stuff, still couldn't get anything. So I stayed there.
Like Brian Colangelo was the GM of the Phoenix, of the Suns.
And he was over USA Basketball.
USA Basketball.
No, that's Jerry.
That's
his
Jerry.
dad.
Jerry.
Oh.
Jerry.
And
No,
that's
Jerry
Jerry who came saw me when I was at Newman, right?
Gotcha.
So I'm in there.
Powerful people.
Yeah, man. I'm in there, right?
Boy, what?
I'm doing it, right? I'm killing. Couldn't get no guaranteed contract. I was my own agent. I remember this. So this how crazy the real is. They wouldn't give me nothing. So they were like, come to camp next year, and after camp, if you're on the roster, we'll guarantee you. So, I ain't like that. Alvin Gentry, my CBA coach, who was in Sioux Falls, was on his staff. He said, Randy, we got a spot. 2-year deal for you. Now, I ain't gonna lie, it's true, own agent. I handshook with Brian because that's all I had.
Right.
But when he called, I took that free agent visit. When I landed in Detroit, Brian Quanzo called me. What you doing? I said, what you talking about I'm doing? I thought we had a deal. I said, what deal? Not guaranteed? I left Detroit. I had 2 years guaranteed. 2 years. So I go back. I get back to my apartment, condo in Phoenix. And man, Carl cussed me out again. He's like, man, I thought we had an MF deal, blah, blah, blah. And I said, nah. Guaranteed, non-guaranteed? Nah, that's easy, no brainer.
Right.
He said, well, good luck in Detroit. Hung up on me. I couldn't say no word. Ding, ling, 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 ling. Danny Ainge. Rand, what would it take to stay here? I said, I need 2 years and a second-year option, player option. I said, but I just hung up with Brian Colangelo. I don't think that's happening. He said, hold up. Don't go nowhere yet. Stay right there in the condo. I'm going to call you back. So I was like, all right. I start packing with him. Go.
This is crazy.
10 minutes later, how about we give you 2 years guarantee, man? I said, no, I need 2 years. I need the second year with an option. He said, all right, I'm gonna call you back.
God
At this point,
dang.
I'm like, we good, right? I'm going to Detroit. I wouldn't even worry about it. He called me back. Deal. Detroit, Phoenix, hot weather, cold weather.
Right.
And I got what I wanted, right? And so,
It's funny how
And then you did it yourself.
yeah, it's no question. Well, I knew what I wanted because I know if I have a good year any kind of way, I can then parlay that to something, right? It's the crazy business of professional sports. So,
I wouldn't think this goes down like this.
oh, it does. Oh, it's crazy. Still to this day.
Nobody was telling you back then, like, bro, you crazy for not having an agent.
No, I did, but I went from Jerome Stanley, who was Keyshawn Johnson, late Reggie Lewis agent. He had a couple guys, and he was good, but he was LA. I'm in New Orleans. It didn't really work. Then after that, I called the Mannings. I called Archie. I was like, man, I need somebody in the South that I can. He sent me to. He's a power football agent now in Memphis. He's Saban's agent too.
Okay.
But I couldn't tell you what he looked like. He had a basketball partner who had Scottie Pippen at the time. He had a bad contract. But I couldn't tell you what the guy looked like. I only talked to him on the phone. That didn't work. Then I grew up with Peenum. He had started in the sport business.
Right.
Jumped on that for a little bit, but that wasn't what I needed. And so I was like, at this point, I can do it myself.
At this point, I
know
do
the
it myself.
business. Yeah. And so, but when he called me back, I did it. I signed that contract. Danny Ainge loved me. Like, we have a great relationship to this day. I can call him, whatever. So, year one of that, go into it, everything, like I said, future in front of you, good. J Kid gets hurt.
Mm-hmm.
I started the last 22 games, best year of my career. It's killing. We winning. We beat the Spurs, who was the defending champion after the lockout.
After the lockout,
round,
yeah.
with me starting. People don't remember that.
Mm-hmm.
Starting.
I forgot about that.
We beat them.
Yeah.
Play against Avery again, childhood, young Sean Marion. I saw Sean in his pre-draft workout. I went and worked out. I knew he was killer. So we beat him. The next series, we see Shaq. And Kobe.
With the Lakers.
And Kobe, yeah.
Kobe.
Now, we had Penny. But J Kid that got hurt, and he came back that shit. Remember, he came back with the dyed hair. He broke his ankle, came back. So I went from starting to nothing because they had bought KJ in to back me up. And they're like, we'll just go with the veteran present. That's how crazy the NBA is. But in the middle of that season, we're 24-6, and 3 of our losses was to Dallas, and they were terrible. Danny resigns. So my ace in the hole over, he resigned. Now, he put this team together. Luke Longley, Rodney Rogers. We had a whip. Tom Gugliotta.
Yeah.
Cliff Robinson, Rex Chapman, Jason Kidd, Penny Hardaway. Danny orchestrated all that, put that together.
But Penny was playing more like the 2 at that point.
Yeah, he was playing the 2, no question. But what happened was Danny saw we couldn't beat the Lakers early on. And
the way the team was constructed.
And so his thing was, let me get out so I don't take the blame. Because remember, he went to TNT right after that.
Sure did.
Scott takes over.
Yep.
We become an incredible defensive team. He one of the best coaches I had ever played for, X and O wise. He was a little loony, but he was X and O wise. He knew it, and we became a great defensive team. We go from like 25th defensive efficiency to 3, and then we played the Lakers in the playoffs. Now I'm hot at this point. I feel like my time had arrived.
Right.
And then now Jay come back. They're gonna play him. So, okay, I can get the backup minutes. Nope, they gave it to KJ. So I end the season kind of on a sour note. Me and Scott never really saw eye to eye, but when I played well, he couldn't do anything that little stretch. So we get to the end of the season. Got that player option, right? I exercise it because I don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
Get it guaranteed. I come home, chilling, working out. Scouts called me, hey, we want you to come back up here and play Summer League. I'm 7-8 years in now.
Wow. He was trying to run you out of
it. Yeah. So here go the story. It wasn't him. I go back and make me practice with the Summer League boys, run up and down crazy. Before they're about to leave to go to Vegas, he said, nah, we just wanted to see if you were working out, if you were in shape. We don't want you to come to training camp. A day later, ding, ling, ling, ling. Randy, come to my office. Brian Colangelo. We don't want you. We gonna waive you, but we want a fourth of that money back. That was guaranteed. We'll give you 3/4 of it. We want a fourth. Oh, you actually half first and fourth. He said, well, you go find a trade. We'll trade you. I found 3 trades. No. So it's crazy. I used to go to the D-back games. Randy Johnson, I seen him pitch a no-hitter.
Yeah.
Tony Delk come sit by next to me. Free agents just started,
Yeah,
right?
Tony Delk ain't no signing there.
So I'm listening. I say, TD, what you doing here? We got Rex, we got J-Kid, we got Penny, me, we all guaranteed. He said, man, I just signed. I was like, oh, that ain't no good. They ain't got enough room for all of us. So the next day, they just waived me. Let the trades go by, let free agency end in, a month pass, they waived me. How dirty the business was. Now, that's when you're an agent, it works against you then, because if you're at a power agent, they ain't going to do nothing like that. But it was almost like get back for the Detroit thing, right? So they waived me. So that year, if you just look up my career, that year, one of the teams that was going to trade for me was Golden State. And this pre the Splash Brothers. That was the worst shooting team ever. 4 guys got paid for rebounding. Got paid big money because we couldn't throw it in the ocean. Donald Foyle, Dampier.
Eric Dampier. Yeah, Eric Dampier did get paid.
He got a big contract.
Hold on, Mark Jackson from Temple, he got a big contract, and one other guy got a big contract because we couldn't shoot, so they were averaging like 12 rebounds each, all of them.
I remember Aaron Dampier had a huge. He ended up getting traded to Dallas. That's how bad the contract was.
Seattle was another team that wanted to trade. So if you go after that Phoenix year, I went to both of those places. I went to Golden State right after because they wanted to trade for me. They're like, we can pick you up. And then Seattle the next year. And so, yeah, that's how crazy it is. Fall down, Tyrus Thomas has the big run in the NCAA tournament. Guess who's coaching the Bulls? Scott Skiles.
Scott Skiles.
Katrina, this 2005. Katrina happened. I had a great year with Utah the year before, but they drafted Darren Williams. Chris Paul, that's a year. Katrina happened. 2005, I asked Mehmet Okur, you got somebody, man, I want to go play somewhere. I got to get away. I ain't going to get a contract in it. I was home. Cat from Turkey called me. 30 grand a month. I'm out. Let mom and them stay at the place. They was all messed up. Y'all can stay. I'm gone. It was dark every day. I had to get out of here, man. I was ready to go. So I went and did that.
Oh, cool. You used to play for Utah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And his coach who coached him when he was coming up in Turkey had a team. So I went over there, did that, loved it. Great time. They stopped paying after 2 months. So our principal coming from the months, I'm out.
Right.
I left. I stayed another month, had a little fun, came home. I flew to Detroit, watched the Super Bowl, Steelers and Seattle. Right? Watched Super Bowl, came home.
Jerome Bettis' last stretch.
Yep.
Ben Roethlisberger.
Yep. Crazy. I come home, stay about a week. I was like, man, I got to get active. I can't be sitting home eating po' boy. I got to get out of here.
Right.
Went back to the CBA. Went there. Took me about a week to get my bearings down. Average a triple-double before that week. I always knew the timing of the CBA when they looking. Average a triple-double. I go in the locker room for the game. Joe Wolf was the coach. He played at North Carolina. He said, man, I got a call from Chicago. They're going to send somebody to come see you tomorrow. If you play well, you out of here. Man, I said, man, you crazy. Me and Scott Skiles hate each other. We don't like each other. But that's how crazy it was.
Right.
I had a good game. They picked me up.
Really?
I meet them in Indiana. I called Peyton. We talked. I play that night. I don't know none of their plays, none of that set. I'm the first dude off the bench. And Scott ran a play for me. Drew up a play. We're going to throw you in the post. Ran it against, I think that Travis Best. And
He's small.
Indiana?
Yep, Indiana.
Travis Best.
Threw me in the best. I think I missed a shot. It rimmed in, rimmed out. I played maybe 10 more minutes. I never played another minute in Chicago.
Wow. This is the time they had Ben Gordon. They had Ben Gordon.
My job that year was to Kurt Howard, Ben Gordon, and Lou Alding was to mentor those guys. Right now, this is how this world of sports work. I mentored them. I don't play another minute. And I'm like, Scott, what's up with this, man? I know we didn't see eye to eye in Phoenix. Like, he said, man, that wasn't me in Phoenix. That was Brian. But this, I know he messed over you on the money side. You know, just think about that. I was on a 10-day contract. I played that one game, never played again. I got my second 10-day contract. Hadn't played. Good in practice. Good with those guys. Used to watch film with Ben Gordon, Kurt, all them.
Yep.
And then I got signed for the rest of the
year.
year. So it was almost like he felt
got
bad,
you.
and
Felt
I'm
bad.
getting your
I
money
got
back
you. I'm
for
getting your money.
how
What happened,
Brian did you, right?
Right.
But why not just communicate and be transparent when coming in? Like, look, I'm bringing you in, but look, don't expect to play a whole lot. I just want you to come in and mentor these guys.
That wasn't it. And then he told me, though, like we just sat down, broke bread, we talked, and he told me, right? Now, at this point, LSU gets hot. Tyrus goes on his run.
Right.
I know his uncles.
Him, Tasman, a big baby. Yeah, they were
at that run, they beat Duke. Garrett and them, they beat Duke.
I don't want to bring it up.
No, so they called me. Into the office. John Paxson, he was the GM. Scott and them, they were like, man, we got a top 5 pick in the draft. We studying, young fella. What you know about him? I tell him the relationship, blah, blah, blah. At this point, after this season, I'm like, I'm going to just retire. They were like, man, we might have something for you, job-wise. So I'm like, oh, it's going to work out. You know, young fella, we're going to bring him in, blah, blah. I went with, if you go look back at all, I worked Tyrus out before the draft. We was in the milk house. Tom Shaw was there. He did all the other stuff. I did the basketball stuff. So they kind of like sent me down there to keep tabs on him. Don't let him go, blah, 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 because they were going to draft him. Draft day trade. Portland trades Marcus Aldrin.
Yeah,
there you go.
Because the Tyrus,
they love Tyrus.
And they traded. They made that trade deal.
After I did all that, they like, we got a job for you. And then that's when John Paxson hires his brother Paxson. So then at this point, Brady come to me and like, that's just the way the world works. Brady come to me.
John
like,
Brady?
Yeah, we got a job for you at LSU. You can come. But, you know, in other words, I ain't had my degree yet. I went up there. I started working towards it, but I needed a year, so they couldn't pay me. I was like, man, so I might as well keep going playing. So that's when I went play some more, about 2-3 more years, and then I knew I was done. We played, that's how small the world is. Man, I got stories for days. We played Darvingham and the Austin Toros led by Quinn Snyder. And Dale
2 head coaches.
Dale Demps was the GM of the G League team. I was in Boise. We beat them in the best of 3 series. And I played that last playoffs with a partially toned rotator cuff. We beat them. I had a team from Spain call me and said, we'd give you 40 stacks a month to come in for the last 2 months. And I turned that away. I turned it away because I said, I'm done. After this year, I'm done.
You was drained.
I was tired. Well, I was going to have no more surgery. That was the end of that. And so I retired as a champion, walked away from it.
And you got your jersey retired.
Yeah, I got my jersey retired in Idaho. Got a ring, was MVP, the oldest MVP of the league the year before. And then we won it. And then that was it, man. And I started coaching right away. Danny came, got me a coach. You know, that's a whole different story. Like, don't be the head coach. And then he said, nah, come and be the assistant coach of Austin. That's all right. I can get out the limelight a little bit, go do my job.
Right.
But then Boise was like, man, we ain't letting you get away that fast. I did a year in Portland, Maine, that just got a new team by the Celtics. And then the Boise people like, we're going to make you the head coach. So, but had I known what I would have known, I would have stayed. Because once you're part of an NBA team, it's just easier to navigate.
It's easier to navigate it through than just.
I got some wild stories though, yeah. Because me and Sam Presti became close. I remember I went and worked out on a visit with the San Antonio Spurs when he was assistant GM.
Yeah,
and I'm leaving
for Oklahoma City Thunder.
I'm leaving to get on the plane.
Draft pick.
I get a call, man. Oh, he's smart man. I get a call from Sam. He's like, man, I don't know how long you're gonna play left, but I see you got a bright future in coaching, and let's stay in touch. Katrina happened. My mom was working for the hospital. She wasn't doing very much, but they had to stay in Katrina. So then they got shipped to San Antonio.
Yeah.
And at 3 a.m, that man went and got my mom, put her up, and then I'll never forget him for that. And then we stayed friends. Had I known, though, this is just the trials and tribulations of coaching. Yeah, he went and picked her up. I called him at 3 o'clock. My mom just landed, because they ain't know where they was going when they left. So they landed in San Antonio. She called me. I said, Sam, man, I need a favor. Go pick up my mom. Just put her up till I get her, take care of it. Did it. And, yeah, long story short, Sam offered me a job. That's how crazy it is. He brings me to Seattle. My one job was to let him know if Russell Westbrook could be a point guard. They drafted him. So I watched Westbrook, KD, and they drafted Jeff Green the whole summer. I was to write reports. after every summer league game and give it to Sam. And he gave me a thing to do, and I was silly. I didn't do it. I don't know why. He said, "Stay close to Scott Brooks. Whatever he do, shadow him. Stay close to him," because PJ Carlissimo was the coach.
Yeah.
They moved the team from Seattle to Oklahoma City. Part of the deal was they had a relocation fee they didn't do if they buy the G League team for $2.5 million, which set the mark for all the G League teams after that for $2.5 million. But he said you got a chance to be the head coach for the G League team, Sam. Right? I go interview for the job. I get up there after the interview. He said, "We got somebody to be the head coach. We want you to be the assistant coach." So again, not knowing the game, they just wanted me to kind of ease into it for a year. But then the Boise people say, "We want you to be a head coach." So I'm like, but you stay under the Spurs tree, Oklahoma City tree, you good. Everybody in that tree. Because that's what Darvin Alexander did. I mean, Darvin Ham did. He stayed in the tree. So it's important.
Udoka did it.
Yeah.
I mean, Udoka has done it.
And that's the learning thing I try to tell all young coaches in there.
Did Griffin? I don't think Griffin was down there in San Antonio at any point, huh?
Man, don't get me started on Griff. Griff, my dude. Griff job in Phoenix when I was playing in Phoenix was the assistant video guy, and he watched the kids in the family room when the game was going on, when the wives went there. That was his job. Now think about that come up when he got the job.
Something like Eric Spoelstra.
Yeah, no question. That don't happen to us a lot, but
right.
And now Griff's a great guy. I love Griff. When he got the job, I called him. I was the first guy to call him.
The head coach job for the Bucks now.
Yeah. So, Adrian Griffin, but David Griffin is the
talking about the GM
president of basketball for the Pels. That's how he started in the business. And then as he won in Cleveland with LeBron, but that's how he started. And I'm probably the only few that know that. And he knows I know. We talk, But he's a great guy. I love Griff. And so, basketball world's crazy, man. I done had a crazy journey. I've seen it all. And I try to tell coaches, man, and this with me, and that's why I'm at Newman right now. The most important thing about coaching in any business, high school, whatever, which tree you get under. If you get under the right tree, you can prosper, you can move on. I didn't understand that when I was first started coaching. I understand it now. And basically, I got to a point where I had a great conversation with my older brother, and he was like, "Man, you be your own tree and start. Put down some roots and just start getting branches off." And I enjoy doing that. And that's why, coming back, I've coached college. I've done high-level grassroots, which I continue to do in the summer, but all Dante Exum, the Ben Simmons of the world, man. I had that Adidas Nation. I brought a lot of those guys over, especially Dante. Nobody don't know I was behind.
And I thought he was going to be the next best thing in the NBA, bro.
Me too.
Yeah, he got hurt. He had
the knee injuries. Because he went 4th overall or something like that.
Dante
Utah.
Exum,
man, he went.
Dante Exum was supposed to be like that guy. The injuries just happened.
It happened, but he's had a heck of a second run now. He went overseas. He's back with the Mavs now this year. So he's a great guy, and so, but I was behind all of that. I put all that stuff together, and so I've done a lot of different things. I didn't really enjoy college, to be honest with you. I was under Johnny. We went winning, and we got fired. I moved back to Australia for 6 months, and then out of job. So then I was like, man, I can't do this no more. Joe Passionate called me, "Can you come to Cal?" I said, "No, I'm not moving to Cal Santa Barbara." I wanted to put some roots down, and so the Newman thing was weird. They asked me to come and see it from 1,000 feet in the air with Coach Tillett. I went. I wasn't sure. We had a great 8th grade year with Arch and Will, kind of rejuvenated. We was undefeated, Cannon Jefferson, and then I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this, and I just hated seeing my alma mater, not being at the top of the basketball thing. And I had a plan right away, and Coach Torres will tell you this, Coach Howard. He told me about Chris Lockett, but I was coaching 8th grade, so I could go watch the kids. It was not illegal, so I watched Chris. I followed him. I seen,
and that was a big deal when Chris fixed his high school. When he chose where he was going, it was such a big deal. A lot of people thought he was going to St. Aug.
Yeah, he changed the course of it very quickly, and then to come back the next year and get Todd Jones and Chris Lehman, and we just been rolling. But the most incredible thing is that we built it the right way. We got great kids that all are graduating, and Chris is off to Boise State, Cannon's off to North Alabama,
right?
And so it'll continue. We got a chance to be better than we have been, but people don't know that, and maybe I should keep that quiet. I'm hard scheduling. It's hard to schedule, but we got some great young talent coming up, and we'll be good. And then the most amazing thing about life, man, I get to be around my son now. He's in Newman.
He's in Newman now.
And he's got a chance. He's we got a really good team, man. And so I'm excited about that. And I don't know, whatever future lies, I'm fine. But I'm one of those guys, as y'all have heard my testimony and story, man, I roll with the flow. And like a lot of guys, I don't know, they can get discouraged, get aggravated, and kind of woe is me attitude. For me, man, everything has its time and place. I would love to be a head coach in college one day, head coach in the NBA. Whether that happens or not, I don't know. But for me, timing's everything. People, like I mean, I watched a video the other day. Yeah, Obama, you know, becomes president and retires at 55 and, wealthy, and it happened for them. Another person was Biden.
Seen that
Trump,
video.
They 70, you know what I'm saying? They old, you know what I'm saying? So like everybody has their time. But I've lived that to a T. I don't worry about the past or like what's gonna happen in the future. I live in the now, but like I know my time coming. You just gotta stay the course, man.
You gotta stay your course. Stay your course.
But you also gotta be willing to build and wait your turn.
Right.
And don't worry about if it doesn't happen yesterday or tomorrow, just when it happened, just knowing you're prepared for it. And I think, I tell people this is just my confidence. And I always had it when I played, and I have it as a coach. Man, I can coach in the NBA right now and feel like I can beat the best of the coaches. I can coach in college. I feel like I can beat the best of those as a head coach, not as an assistant. And that's how I feel. It's just a matter of time till somebody figures out that I'm an asset to a program, whether it be a local one. I'm not going to say no names, but whatever that may be, that time will come. And we'll come back and sit down, and you'll be like, man, Rand told me this first. It was going to happen. And it will, man. So I'm excited. This is just my time to lay some roots. I love the AAU stuff that I do, giving kids opportunity, because that's what Coach Rob and Rock and all the guys did for me. Coach Sanders, that's at 35. Those guys, even Frank Wilson, man, people don't know. Like, just business about relationship. Frank Wilson used to chaperone us 10 and 11-year-old bitty basketball whenever we went to Morgan City, whenever we went out of town. He chaperoned us. People don't know the relationships. They matter. They're important. And, like, we all here to help. Jabbar Jalute, all those guys I watched, grow in this business. Robert Pack, those guys.
It's Robert Pack now.
Rob is out. He was coaching for 10, 12 years in the NBA. He's now coaching, the head coach in the new league the NBA is doing in Africa. That was the last thing.
So that's what he did.
But he still has his program. He does stuff for the kids. But like Jaren Jackson, Frank Jackson still cuts my hair. Right. We're neighbors. Jaren Jackson Jr. is doing so well. So New Orleans has had, man, and Louisiana has had its share of basketball players. People have no idea, from Darlin Alexander, now Mitchell. There's been a lot of players come from here. And I'm just happy to be a part of it. I know, like I said earlier, I'm going to put my prep career against everybody, amateur career against anybody. And I love doing what I'm doing now, helping young men reach their potential and just, giving them opportunities, which a lot of the kids don't get that.
Right.
It's scary. But we love it, though, man. I love doing what I'm doing. And I've got some coaches on my bench now that will be head coaches in the future in the next year or two, whether it's high school or getting on a college staff. That's what it's about, man.
Elevating everybody around you.
Yeah. Well, that tree, right?
Grow on that tree. Yeah. Grow on your own tree.
How tough was it, man? You had somebody like Chris Lockett come into your program, right? I think back, it just show you how fast time passed. I remember going to that All-Star game at St. Aug and watching him. Before that, I had only seen highlights of him.
Yep.
First time I saw him in person. And after that game, the buzz started like, man, this kid could possibly be a potential pro. That's that's what people
was the team, people saying.
People saying like he could possibly be a potential pro. And I saw it in that game, right? Knowing that you was a highly touted kid coming out of high school and all the hype that you had around you, right? He had the same thing. I mean, wasn't he like top 15 in the country at one time?
He was 100%
basketball.
100%.
And a lot of people say that he didn't live up to the bill. Talk about how you was able to help him and groom him, these 4 years, even though, he probably didn't sign with the North Carolinas or the blue blood schools coming out of high school.
Yep. Chris is I really, really enjoyed all my years with Chris. he's still a special player. He still has a chance. His future's still in front of him.
Right.
I realized right away, like when you're team building, and I was able to see high school from 1,000 feet in the air. There's not that many guys that are gonna carry it by themselves. It's just not like that anymore.
Right.
For whatever reason, those days are long gone. What's amazing about Chris is here you take a guy out of Arthur Ashe, you place him in the academics bananas. He has Arthur Ashe did a great job with him, but there's an exposure gap of academics when you go from Arthur Ashe to Newman.
Completely different.
They did a great job with him. There's a social climate with Newman.
Yep.
Then you're playing for a coach that is a professional guy that understands it, and then you have the new world of social media pulling at these kids at all angles.
Correct.
Right? And so when people say Chris didn't live up to hype, what they don't understand, graduating from Newman is a feat of itself when where we started, right? And if you look at the makeup of our team this year and the makeup of the last 4 years, we had a total team. Cannon Jefferson is a good player.
Definitely.
Arch Manning them played on that. Will Randall them played. We had a good team. Austin Montgomery played on that team. The style of play that we play is not conducive to one guy getting 30 points.
Right.
And now you have to listen, and this is where my expertise coming at. To kill someone for his high school career and to over utilize them kills him for later on. I'm the one guy that understands that at the end of the day, you got to continue to get better, but you want to be your best when it's time to make some money, right? And so Chris could have averaged 25, 26 points without a game, but Chris was always a team guy. And so he would guard the best player. He would rebound. Whenever we played good teams, I never had to worry about Chris. Chris played his freshman year. We played in the quarterfinals in Alexandria against a good Holy Menard team with Javon Ruffin. Again, so he shared. It wasn't like he was by himself. Chris had 36 in that game and carried us to the semifinals. And so I knew what Chris was capable of. There was a lot of growing and maturing that Chris needed to do, which people...
Especially as a freshman.
Yes. And people don't understand that it took time. I had to also sit Chris his freshman year because academically he wasn't where he went, and it probably cost us his freshman year of being #1 seed in the power and all that stuff. I sat him for 6 weeks. It wasn't a school thing. It wasn't an LHSA thing. It's something that I decided to do because I knew I had to catch him at that moment or it was never going to get caught, and he didn't understand that.
Right.
And so when I say that to say is there was a lot of maturing that people didn't see that needed to happen with Chris. Chris left Newman better prepared for life. Hell with the basketball part of it, for life. And I get that from Coach Rob. Like, those guys had us prepared, Big Woo, Kevin Sanders, for life. And so that was more important to me. He delivered what he was supposed to. We should have won 3 in a row. We were 2 minutes away from winning our 3rd one against Carlos and Dunham. And they just weren't quite ready. And so when people say he didn't live up to billing, we didn't have that type team. I have a team and a system built around team. Because I don't feel like there's going to be one guy to carry. Like I told this year's team, there's not going to be anybody averaging 20 and 30. They're all going to be around 16, 17, 18.
Yeah.
But we're going to have a great team. We're going to play a national schedule, and we're going to win. And so that's just the way the program was set up. It's sort of like, and I'm not comparing them because Jordan, but North Carolina was the worst Jordan average because it was built around team. And then he takes off. So Chris has a chance. Cannon has a chance to play as a freshman. And to be honest with you, basketball scholarships now are a lot different than they were 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 3 years ago because of NIL and because of the transfer portal. So to get a college scholarship now, they're hard.
They're hard.
Man,
right? And so
and
you got to
people don't understand it.
fit. So sometimes it's okay to go to a smaller school and be a free agent twice because that's what it is now. Go put in your work, do what you're supposed to do. Somebody else will come find you, a Power 5 school. Because the goal is to, if you want to be an ultimate basketball player, the goal is to earn some money.
Money.
So you figure that out the best way. Chris' body isn't worn down. his best years ahead of him. His body will continue to mature, and he has a chance to play 20, 25 minutes as a freshman at Boise State. I don't know how many, even the McDonald's All-American guys are going to play 25 minutes in college, and he's prepared. Talked to Coach Leon Rice. They said they're all happy with where his progress is. He knows the defense. He knows offensive concepts. That's what it's about. Now, everybody else has their opinion, but
again, the life is still ahead of him. That don't listen. The way the transfer portal works and college basketball works now, you can go ahead and put up numbers somewhere else, and you're still being recruited. It ain't like when you have to go sit out a year and couldn't play in this conference. No, that day has come and gone. So the landscape of it all is completely different now.
Yes.
I mean, he got his whole life ahead of him. If you go out there and put in the exposure, at one point in time, man, you had to go to a Power 5 school to get exposure.
No question.
Right.
Anywhere now.
Times are definitely
Anywhere. And the last thing I think I'll say to this, and this is just a testament to me, and I know, and the school, Chris has a Newman degree. His classmates in the class of 2023,
for a lot of weight,
they will be something. Yes. He can always come in, no matter what happened in basketball. He has a home. He can have a healthy life. And he has options. And people don't understand that. And that's just something that comes with going to a school like Newman. Not that it can't happen anywhere else. Mm-hmm. I just know, being now an alumni of Newman, what it means. I'm living proof of it. I understand what that means, and it's important. And the same thing for Cannon. Those guys are special guys. Like I said, if you take Cannon and you put him on a car, you put him anywhere else, they're averaging 30 points in the city. It's not even close. They're averaging 30. They would do just what Cam Johnson did at Shaw.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So that's it. And when we played AAU and we went on EYBL, Chris shined. So that lets me know the talent is there. He will shine when it's time. It's all about timing, and that's important. And so we're excited about what we're doing at Newman. I put our program up against any program, and from the very beginning, we played everybody. It didn't matter. I mean, my first year, I thought we were still in the NBA. We played 9 games in 2 weeks. We was playing 4 and 5 nights, right? Against Carver, against whoever. I remember my first year, we were 3 and 5 to start the season. But I had a plan going into Newman, what I wanted the program to look like. And
that's on the right track.
And it's okay to take your lumps in the beginning to learn how you want the program to grow and what you need to do to move forward. And so,
and now you got your son coming up.
Yeah, son coming up.
Talk about that, man. And give me a little advice, man, because I'm the head coach at a middle school in my area, man, and my son is on the team, and I'm trying to figure out how I'm gonna wear those different hats.
Yeah, it's hard for me. I only know one way. It's still about the program, so the team is always going to come first. I think work is work. You gotta make them work. You gotta make them earn it.
Mm-hmm.
I have to look at the program in totality, but we still going to get our work in together with all the players and with him. And so at the end of the day, I think if you keep it in that perspective, the cream, like they say, always going to rise to the top. And I think at the end of the day, we have a chance to have a special group. But we got to take care of the team. But it's a blessing now to be able to have some level of control over his development. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, he was in Florida. He still come and play AAU with us in the summer, and I don't see it. But it's not the same 12 months out of the year. Seeing him every day. Yeah. Being able to give him.
Creating them good habits.
Good habits. And the habits of just working for it. Getting up at 5 in the morning. And Kobe says it best. You got to outwork everybody. That was people always ask me, how did I maintain that level of excellence all those years when I know people were coming? I just outworked people. I worked harder than anybody else, and I'm going to instill that in this group and him. And that once you do that, it's up to them after that. And he has a chance. He has some talent. The thing I like about him, and people don't understand, he'll have a target on his back. He doesn't know all the rivalries in New Orleans yet, right?
Yeah,
he'll figure it out quick. Just the name. That's what I'm saying. And the rankings, people say, okay, he ranked. Okay, let's go after him.
Let's go to him.
But at the end of the day, for him, it's about growth and it's about continue to work and then just go out there and produce and have fun. We got great teammates. We got talent. I mean, we got like people say coaching, man, we got talent. And the thing I'm happy about now is that I've watched him from when I was coaching in the G League, him being in the locker room when I'm coaching Antoine Walker and all those guys, and I'm about to go over the board, and he's making them throw the ball back and forth with him when he was 3 weeks, 4 weeks old. But that's how much he's been around the game.
Embedded in it.
Always been around the game. Now, the one thing he does have that I think is really, really unique is from being around the game at that such a young age, and he's very observant. So he's been watching all the Adidas Nation, all the pros, and see how they walk, how they look, how they talk.
Right.
You know, he knows that.
He has
language.
that mannerism.
He knows that language, and he has a high basketball IQ because he's been watching it for such a long time. And I think that's gonna bode well for this year's team and for his future. And I'm looking forward to it. This is like out of all of the the life lessons and all of the things that I've been able to go through and survive and move on, they're like a blessing. Like God, okay, and you get to spend 3 years with your son now. He'll go on and do what he's gonna do if God's
sees
sees it, and that's it's just a blessing. Like I don't like to be back at Newman, and for them to get another Randy Livingston. For my, I mean, I hate it's coming, but for my documentary that we're gonna do, like this is like a dream come true. This doesn't like just happen all the time, and I feel like all the stuff that I've gone through, it just sets the stage for this, and it's everything that I'm getting. Like if I said I had Utopia as a high school career, it just come full circle now, and that's everything in front of me. And so
then it's nice because you just had Cooper, the man has come through Newman, and then Arch comes through Newman, and he sets the stage and lives up to the bill.
No question.
And now you came through Newman. Now your son's coming.
Yeah.
We got 4 years to watch him and see him evolve. I mean, it's definitely going to be fun to watch, man. I always wonder how coaches that have their son on their team, how they just, wear those different hats, man. Like, once you out of the gym, is your son still taking it personal that you got on him ball because he ain't come over can't hedge that screen the way he's supposed to? Like, you know what I mean? Like, those is those different dynamics that comes into play when you're coaching your son. You know what I mean?
But you cherish that, right? And then there's just a language that you have with your son that you know. I'm for one just because I was one of those guys who live, sleep, eat, drink basketball, right? And so as you get older, life is about balance, right? And so there's a time where you got to cut the switch off.
Yep.
Okay? We've worked, we've done you had a game, good, bad, another. We're gonna have another game tomorrow. So we can't live on that for every day and take it home with you. You gotta set that boundary, but you also gotta be that. Like there's more things to life.
More things in life.
You gotta still do well in school. Your relationships, as they get older, they have relationships with the opposite sex. I think you gotta like enjoy those times. Like when I'm like, and that's the beauty of our relationship is all these years, I have never like been one of those dads. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do this basketball. When he's with me, we do everything else outside of basketball. He's been to Australia with me.
That already.
Yeah, exactly. And so I know there was gonna be a time.
The other things are the question marks. It's not the basketball.
No.
The other things are the question mark because you really got to fit that in. We know we're going to fit basketball in because that's what we part of it. It's part of what we're doing. School, basketball. It's the other stuff you really got to work at to fit in because those things are the mysteries. Those are things you got to really put your time and effort into because if you don't, they get missed. They get caught up doing something else.
Well, you got to give them the tools and techniques to be successful with life. Because basketball win one day. It has, it's the best of us. All the time it's undefeated, no matter how you cut it. And I think it's those times you get to spend with him outside of basketball, taking trips. We've done, he's been with me with so much stuff. He knows about, all of the pitfalls that I've been through. He knows about my journey. For me as a father, that switches very quickly. As soon as we're outside of the gym, we on to something else. I'm not even like this summer in AAU when the game was over with. I didn't. We haven't watched any of the games. I haven't critiqued any of that because I know it's a time and place for it.
Right.
I know my job this summer. I didn't coach AAU this summer. I was just a director. I needed to see where he was and then where we need to go. So I have a plan for that. But for as like fatherhood, man, I think that's the blessing, man, for us to be able to be in our kids' life and to be able to help them just be a little bit better and have a better life than we have. And I think that's the ultimate gift of fatherhood. And you know, I'm looking forward to that just as much as the basketball part.
Before we let you go,
gotta get into Randy's favorites. Gotta get into Randy's favorites.
Hey, let's do it.
Here we go.
Let's do it.
Favorite basketball player of all time.
Favorite basketball. Just my style. Magic was always my dude, man. That's why people, when they ask me to LeBron Jordan, but I love Michael Jordan, but I'm always closer to LeBron, but still Mike is the GOAT.
Right.
But like, that's just the style, right? It's just our preference of style. But Magic was my dude. I patterned everything about Magic. I did. That was my dude.
Favorite movie of all time.
Whew, that's a tough one. Nowadays I'm into laughing and humor and comedy, but I like To Kill a Mockingbird, to be honest with you. I read the book and then I like that story.
That's a classic right there.
I like that. Samuel, I like that was performed. That's one that I like. But I got so many movies like
Gotta go back and watch that.
Yeah.
I haven't watched that in
years.
bro.
Now if you say TV shows, Ted Lasso was my awesome. I love watching that during all of the storm. Ted Lasso, it was on Apple TV. That's the football coach that became a soccer coach in London.
Gotcha.
That's a great series. I can watch that all day, every day, because it's about coaching and life. It's good though. Special.
Favorite coach of all time, no matter what level.
That's hard.
Can
I get half and half?
We know it's not Scott Skiles.
No, not Scott. But no, it's, to be honest with you, it's Coach Rob and Coach Fitz. If I could bottle both of them up and make as one, it would be like the perfect coach. They were different in their own way, their own style, but they were character people first.
Mm-hmm.
Like the basketball part, they were great coaches. Coach Fitz still probably the best X&O coach I've been around, NBA or college.
Damn.
Coach Rob is one of the most incredible human beings I've ever been around in the world. And I put him up there. I have a high. I named my son Arthur Robinson Livingston after Coach Rob. Like he meant a lot to a lot of us. Like people don't understand. We need to have a roast. I mean, I know his name is on Card Court, but like he has influenced a lot of lives. We just got to go back. We can talk about Pat Surtain. We can talk about Frank Wilson. All of those guys he has contributed. Robert Royal. Like all of those guys come from that tree. Noel Ellis, they come from that tree. Like he has influenced a lot of kids, and he doesn't get the credit for it. Still to this day, and in the LHSA Hall of Fame, which is a whole other story.
Right.
It's the great of New Orleans. He is Coach Rock. He influenced those guys. He asked Coach Rock, the best man that he's probably been. He will say Coach Rock. So those two guys are special. And to me, from a coaching standpoint, for me, I take everything. My base and foundation is from those two, and how my mannerisms with the kids. You can be tough, but you gotta love them. Coach Rob was loving. Coach Fitz was tough. You gotta be demanding. We gotta be at our very best. That's the one thing. I had a young coach. Hopefully, he gets a job here soon. High school. He asked me that I think he was ready. You're ready to be a coach when you're willing to sacrifice and give up all the other stuff for the beauty of those kids to be successful. You can't be out drinking. You can't be out chasing. If the next day you got to serve those kids and be your very best, how can you be your very best? You got to be of service to those kids. And I told him that's an area he needs to improve in. But like those guys did that. We knew what they were about. They were for the kids. They were for the betterment of the kids.
Favorite sneaker all time?
Oh, this might surprise you. And I told him this the other day I was an Adidas guy growing up. It's a tie between Antoine Walker. It was the AWH. They were so soft. They fit my shoes great. And the Forms, the Adidas Forms. I love them.
Adidas Forms.
I love them. But now today, since I'm a EYBL Nike guy, it's Nikes.
Right. Favorite place to visit?
Whew, that's a tough one.
You'd have been all over.
You've been all over.
Yeah, I have.
Yeah, you've been all over.
I think this will surprise you. I love everywhere I've been in Southeast Asia, from Vietnam, Malaysia, Singapore.
I heard Singapore is nice.
They're all nice. Singapore is probably one of the cleanest nations.
Yeah,
in the world.
I've heard that from a number of
The
people.
yeah.
But I love Vietnam because the food was as close to New Orleans as possible.
Really?
I've never had French bread like New Orleans, and it's that
Damn,
French
man,
influence. With the French influence, they had that culture. So the bread's the exact same.
I would have never thought that.
Go all the way over the world, and the French bread in Vietnam is the same as it is here. And that messed my head up, but the spices are good. Malaysia too. All those little countries in there are they cook the food's good. And once it takes a while to get there and make it expensive, but everything's cheap when you get there. So those are good spots.
Just halfway across the world.
Yeah, good spots.
Favorite music artist of all time?
Shoot, that's tough. Obviously, I'm gonna stay in the city.
Right.
I mean,
Gotta pay homage.
yeah. I mean, I grew up with the No Limit guys. I grew up with the Cash Money guys. I'm rolling with those crews.
You
Many
did?
crews across the world. I can't even say who's better, who worse, because I've ran with both of them. I know most of those guys, but like
They both have their mixtures.
they both have their mixtures. I mean, Wayne obviously probably is the best to come from here.
Yes.
I love Juve. I love BG. I love Mystical.
Yeah.
I love Fiend. You know, all those guys.
All that stuff they was rapping about, you know what?
Oh, it's
Everything
no
cheap.
question.
And
But
then
I
you
get
talking
on
about
tour. I've been on tour with both of them,
I mean,
so
now
I've seen
Nick is
it.
out, so you get to get credit to Mac.
Man,
I mean,
those guys were amazing. Like those, I mean,
just leave
like I
out
said,
just leave out Silk. Can't do Silk.
Silk wasn't your guy, but Silk Sun is cold right now.
I heard.
Yeah, I heard.
Almost had him.
I
at the end,
heard.
too.
Yes.
Almost. Silk Sun's good. Yeah. Peace Mercy's good too. We're trying to get a game with Notre Dame and Browningham this year. So yeah, those guys, those are my guys, man. I can listen to that, and even my guys, the younger guys, generation now on my team, they tease me about that. They tease me about my relationship with Pete, and because they don't listen to none of that. They say, "Oh, that's garbage."
No,
that to them
it's a
is
whole
garbage. Even
different
Wayne
way.
is garbage to them now. So
they-
all the stuff they listen
they
to is
chirping.
the most crazy
They
stuff.
chirping.
But
They chirping.
that's the younger generation.
Favorite comedian all time?
Oh, I'm a Chappelle guy. It's my dude. He might not be the favorite all time, but I can rock. Cause the thing is, he's funny, but he's socially conscious, and like his messages are powerful and strong.
It definitely be powerful.
Really powerful and strong.
A lot of stuff he didn't say in his stand-ups, I didn't have to go back and research and be like, damn, I ain't know that.
I ain't know that.
Yeah.
But and he did it in a funny way though.
Yeah, he did.
He does it in a funny way, but now he's at a place where he knows he's in power. Not like in a negative form.
No.
He just has the clearance. Like some people have to, censor what they're trying to do just to reach the audience and the masses, right?
Yeah.
He's at a place where, man, I got clearance.
Yeah.
And y'all understand this clearance? Oh, I'm about to express myself.
Yeah.
And it's nothing you can do. It's about not everybody's gonna have that clearance as a comedian or whatever journey they're in, right? Whatever field they're in. Like Nick Saban probably could come out right now and say something because he's at a place of clearance.
No question.
You know what I mean? Same thing with Coach K at one point in time when he was coaching. He has a certain level of clearance.
Yeah.
As a comedian, I think he's at that level where he has the clearance to come out and just say
Whatever. No question.
And you be like,
Did he just say that?
did he just say
Yeah.
No question.
Yeah.
And it's like, what we gonna do? Boy, you know who just said that?
Yeah.
Everybody can't pull us off. Yeah. So he's at that place, and that's what I love about his comedy.
Mm-hmm.
It can come off in a way you be like,
yeah. But you call it clearance. I feel like he is so entwined with the culture.
yes,
Whether it's the music culture, whether it's other comedians and people. Like I think from that standpoint, I mean, he's untouchable.
He's untouchable.
He can say what he wants and get away with some of the craziest
like,
stuff.
Dangle,
Talk about that.
Dangle, like so many conversations that you
Yeah.
probably want to have, and you be like, "Dog, he really on the tightrope." But it's funny. He be make you want to laugh. You be like, I know he riding the fine rope.
But you can go back and watch the Chappelle shows in it and still get the same kick out of the same jokes. It's the craziest thing. So no, he's good. That's my comedian.
Yeah. Last but not least, toughest player you ever went against.
Oh, let's see. I'm gonna go levels, right?
Okay.
High school. It was a tie between. He was a tough defender, Pointer Williams and Jock Vaughn.
Pointer Williams.
Them two. Jock's probably the only guy that. No, I take that. Yeah, in high school, stole the ball. Stole the ball from me. Stole the ball from me. He got one steal from me. I was careless one time. I was playing on maybe a McDonald's game somewhere, but he got me. But there's very few that stole the ball from me. I had that thing on a string. College, man, I give shout out my guy. No, I must AI. I give AI. I played against AI when he was younger, but you always tell he was a dog. And a lot of that came from football. People don't understand how valuable football is to that. It's just tough as nails.
Bubba Chuck, man.
Tough. And in the NBA, Lindsey Hunter, Mookie Blaylock.
Lindsey Hunter, defensive level.
Yes, but Mookie Blaylock took the ball from me one time, and I didn't even know he took it. That's how cold he got me.
Mookie.
I was dribbling, and when I did a spin move, he took it like this and was laying up on the other end. I'm still turning like I had that joint. As he got me cold. He was tough on ball, but Lindsey Hunter on ball defense.
Yeah, Lindsey Hunter still in Mississippi Valley?
No, I don't think so.
Gone.
Yeah, he gone.
Okay.
But he was a hell of 94 feet.
I think it might have been Carmelo Anthony. Might have been Carmelo or Tracy McGrady. It was one of the high level scorers that played in the NBA. They said Lindsey Hunter was the toughest defender they ever went against.
Listen,
Kobe said Eric Snow was.
Yeah.
But when they said Lindsey Hunter, you got to remember, when the Lakers was going through that championship run, bro, they used to put Lindsey Hunter in to pick up people 94 feet and weigh them down.
Like Chauncey was starting, but he was behind Chauncey.
Man, he had
his long arms. I'm talking about with the Lakers.
Yeah, he was on the Lakers too.
When Kobe and Shaq was going through that run,
Lindsey
would come to get. I'm talking about he wouldn't shoot a shot.
Yeah.
He would just come in and pick you up 94 feet and weigh your point guard down, bro. That was a part of their scheme.
Now think about that. In college, he was a scorer.
Right.
He was getting buckets.
Right.
But that's how people change.
Patrick Beverly averaged 30 in high school, averaged 24 a game in Arkansas.
Yes.
Got to the league, had to change his
game. Yeah.
Tony Allen too.
Tony Allen, when he was at Oklahoma State.
Tough, but they tough. The one thing about them, they tough. And they got those attributes. Them long arms, they can control you, dribbling the ball. You weren't going bomb.
Great feet.
It was tough.
Yeah.
Tough.
Man, I appreciate you coming on this podcast.
Oh man, shit. Anytime, man. Chop it up.
Man, you got some stories.
Oh, I got a million more playing with Charles and Jordan all meeting up when we go to LA. Man, I got stories for days, man. I had people always ask, man, would you have any regrets? Yeah, you didn't get hurt. I get that. But like for as like life and what I've been able to experience, what I've been able to overcome, and what I'm doing now, like I think that's super important. I still help a lot of kids, and then for me to come out, and Mark Spears, who's from New Orleans, who just got inducted to the Hall of Fame. He did a story on it from Anscape, and I detailed my battles and addictions with gambling, and like I help people now. I help people. That's like people ask me, basketball was good, and we had a good time talking about the past, but like my legacy now is how I'm helping people in the community, overcome some things. How I'm getting some of these companies that spend all of this money to give resources back to problem gambling, giving resources back to, being able to help people get over stuff that the normal Joe Blow don't understand. There's a lot of people committing suicide and dying over addictions. And so I think for me, that's what I want my legacy to be. And, the sports stuff was fun, the plan and the career and the stories is great. I can live through, coaching these young men and my son now. But at the end of the day, man, it's about leaving a legacy for people to understand that it isn't about me. It's about helping everybody else achieve what they have to achieve, and then helping the community, helping people get over stuff that, quite frankly, man, it's tough because it's everywhere now. You can't turn on the TV without, shit, ESPN, just $2 billion deal with a company just to promote gambling, getting the gambling out. It's some stuff we'll talk about it another time. But that's what I'm about right now, though, man. That's what I'm about right now.
Yeah.
We didn't have part 1, 2, and 3, and 4 tonight, so we good, man. I enjoy my time, man. Except, man, if y'all need people to come on about football, man, I love prep sport. I go to the games. I go watch Tarzan in practice because I'm always learning, and I want to see the best do it. And that, I think I was the first one to see the little documentary that had
Algiers.
That was amazing.
Yeah.
And so,
Amazing documentary.
when my doc come out, I'm gonna tell you, it's coming.
I can't wait to watch it, man. I can't wait to watch it.
Man.
I know a lot of people from my area, man. Like I say, I'm from Homer, and I know they're gonna thoroughly enjoy this episode. I know Andre Brown gonna be tuned in. And,
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
and his family, and be able to reflect back on, on those days, bro, in the 90s, where, y'all was the cream of the crop. You know what I mean? So we definitely got to get you back on the near future, man. Can't wait to see what that Newman team gonna look like. Y'all loaded. Yep. That next era of Newman basketball is upon us, man. So I can't wait to see y'all, thriving at national.
That three-peat, that Wayne.
I like that.
Yeah.
Three-peat.
Yeah.
I like that.
But everybody don't notice.
Yeah.
No question. And I try to be quiet about it, but it's the cat out of the bag, man. Yeah. We built a great program, and it's okay. Like, you gotta, when you build something good, you gotta embrace it. And at the end of the day, these kids have something. When you win a state championship, people can never take that away from you.
That's it.
So,
Y'all already know what it is, man. Listen, it's FanView Podcast. Listen, get subscribed, get liked in, like, share, comment, tell a friend, share it with a friend. Y'all already know what it is. It's FanView Podcast. And give a big shout out to New Orleans Talk Network, man. Listen, if y'all looking trying to feature the next podcast, don't forget to subscribe to NewOrleansTalkNetwork.com. There's an app with New Orleans Talk Network. If you're trying to listen to other podcasts and other shows that this wonderful network is filming for us, we deeply, deeply appreciate it. Don't forget to, again, follow G-Sportz. I can't help you if you need to rock. We all on social media now, baby. You got to get locked in with G-Sportz. If you're on YouTube, if you're on Facebook, if you're on Twitter. Again, it's FanView Podcast.
We everywhere. You ain't never there.
You ain't never.
Why would I ever care?
love it.
Y'all already know what it is. Listen,
we signing out, man.
Signing out, FanView Podcast. We signing out. Appreciate it. Get locked in. Get subscribed. Till next time.
Step Construction is here for you with a brand new offer. We now provide affordable storage sheds. Stop wasting your money on overpriced storage units and portable containers. Step Construction can provide you with a custom shed that will fit your budget and storage needs. So contact Step Construction today at 504-340-5809 for your own personal quote. Let us help you take the next step at Step Construction.
It's DatBoyFred, host of FanView Podcast. Tune into the NOTN app, weekdays, 3:30 for the FanView Podcast. Go to NewOrleansTalkNetwork.com to watch more episodes of FanView Podcast. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and watch.